Hi, I'm Matt with Parker Bespoke Furniture here in northern Colorado. I'm going to show you how I made this record console.
Every project starts out as a 3D rendering. Now, I'm not the best at sketching, so this allows me to play with the design and figure out proportions before making any sawdust. Once I have the design figured out, I can generate a cut list, and that will tell me exactly how much material I need. For this console, we'll need 2 sheets of 3/4 plywood, 1 sheet of 1/4 inch plywood, and I'll probably grab a board or 2 of walnut for the base. Now, plywood tends to get a bad rap, but this is furniture grade with a walnut veneer, and it's a lot higher quality than what you're going to find in the big box stores. The case will utilize stop dado construction, which allows everything to nest in place, and it adds strength to the joints as they sit slightly below the surface. Now, the easiest way to do this is on the CNC, but a quick and dirty method is just to clamp 2 boards using your partition as a spacer. Then you just run a pattern bit down the slot you've created, and it will be the same width as your partition. Just make sure to mark a line or use a stop block if you don't want your dado to go all the way across the shelf.
So I'm going to be making a series of sub-assemblies because the way this thing all comes together is nothing can slide in. So we're going to try to make the process as easy as possible. So that means we are going to glue these in piece by piece instead of trying to do the whole thing at once. So in here, because I won't be able to clamp it very well, I've got some screws, and those will act as my clamps. I don't want my screws pushing this out, so I'll temporarily clamp this in place.
We'll be storing media components in the middle section, so we need to add ventilation to allow for proper airflow and prevent things from overheating behind closed doors. Now, there are a few ways that we can achieve this, but I'm just going to go ahead and draw this up real quick and have my robot friend cut it out for me.
All right, so now we are ready to put this back and the sides on. So our clamps aren't long enough, and we're going to use this to extend the 2 of them to reach across that guy, which is 54 inches. In the wood shop, clamps are probably one of your most important things. You can't do much without them. You know, generally the sizes we have are long enough to do 90% of what we need to do, but sometimes we have to make them a little bit longer. And in this case, we have these attachments that allow us to take the clamps apart and then rejoin them to make a longer clamp, essentially.
I'm using Titebond 3 for this glue up because it offers a little longer open time and will allow me to get everything lined up properly before the glue sets up. It's also great with this application because it's going to dry a dark brown and will blend in really well with this walnut.
There she is. To make sure everything came out square and make our lives a lot easier, we ended up using clamping squares. That way we know each one of these compartments is coming out perfectly square and we won't have any issues down the line.
There we go.
So these are the boards for the base, and I believe we should be getting all of our main showpieces out of this, and I might be able to get enough for the cross braces as well, we'll see. But definitely the parts that you see, I want them all to be cohesive. So I'm going to use these templates to mark out where I'm going to get my parts from. This represents my main stretcher, and this will be the angled legs that attach to it. So we want to get rid of that right there. You need that to be totally flat. So these are the pieces for the legs. These are our blanks right now. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this jig to turn this into this shape. So the beauty of this jig is that I can make all 3 cuts without even moving my feet. So with all 3 of those cuts done, we've got a piece that perfectly matches our template. All right, so the last step before our glue up is to put a profile on the outer edge of our feet. What I'm thinking for this one is I want to do what's called a thumbnail profile. So it's a round over, but it still creates a line here, so it's not completely losing its shape. And that's basically what we're going to aim for. Now this is one of those instances where I don't have an exact measurement. I'm just going to go on what feels right. I definitely like that a lot more than, you know, just a plain old hard edge. So these were the pieces that we saved from our offcuts off of these guys. And as it comes together, we're going to be contending with an angled surface. And to make it perpendicular, I'm going to put these up against here, and then that'll give me a nice 90-degree reference so I can bring my force in that way. And it should allow us to utilize our clamps a little bit better.
Yeah, did you add some shelves?
It's probably those doors.
Maybe the hinges.
So the last step is to finish the cabinet. Yeah, so to get a preview of what this is going to look like once there's finish on it, we'll hit it with some water, and that takes on just a completely different personality. On this one, we ended up using a conversion varnish finish, which is about as bulletproof as you can get. And this will allow, you know, if they end up enjoying some drinks over their record listening parties, you know, they can put those on the top without worry of getting those white rings and having any like trap moisture in there. So it's a really good finish for this application. What I really love about this is that mid-century modern style. It is absolutely my favorite to work within, and I think my client's going to appreciate it. As a record collector, it just perfectly ties in. I don't think many people are going to be collecting records that wouldn't appreciate that style. And yeah, I'm super stoked with the way it turned out.